In the aftermath of the October 7th attack on its soil, Israel unleashes a relentless bombing campaign on Gaza, prompting global outcry over the perceived disproportionality of its response. What initially seemed like a defensive stance now teeters on the edge of what Turkey boldly denounces as a genocide. Echoing the resolute positions of China and Russia in the conflict, Turkey takes swift and impactful measures, initiating a ban on services and products associated with Israel. Yet, the lingering question hangs in the air: will Turkey's actions escalate further? And what about the critical factor of oil supply? To unravel this suspense, we must delve into China's stance on Israel and its consequential policies. Cultivation community, stay tight, cause we're starting now. Chinese President Xi reiterates call for ceasefire during the latest BRICS summit. Chinese President Xi Jinping advocated for the immediate release of all innocent individuals detained in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Addressing the leaders of Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa, and Iran via video, Xi Jinping emphasized the urgency of taking all necessary steps to achieve an immediate ceasefire. He underscored the need to halt violence and attacks against Palestinians to prevent further loss of human lives and additional suffering for the population. In the same vein, he added that greater humanitarian aid should be provided to the Gaza population. To this end, he announced that China would provide more materials and assistance as needed. He condemned forced resettlements and collective punitive measures targeting a population of Gaza. Although the BRICS nations have not issued a joint statement, the group has aligned itself with a broader initiative aiming to challenge what appears to be U.S. supremacy, which, according to them, has not been working for peace. Xi Jinping's statements highlight China's position in favor of peace, civilian protection, and humanitarian aid in the context of the Middle East conflict. Since the Chinese president's initial interventions on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, several other states have also expressed concern and called for a return to calm, notably Russia, which seems to be fighting for peace on the same scale as China. As for the other BRICS members, there is not a significant divergence of opinion. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa condemned a Palestinian group following the October 7 attack, but also called for an immediate and lasting ceasefire after numerous Israeli army bombings. South Africa, along with 5 other developing countries, even advocates for Israel to be held accountable before the International Criminal Court for war crimes. Moreover, China has facilitated separate discussions with Middle Eastern officials, such as Turkey, to ease hostilities in Gaza, seeking to strengthen its role as a global peace mediator. According to Saudi media, these discussions focused on an immediate halt to military escalation and the provision of necessary humanitarian aid. This is indeed China's position on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a position adopted by Turkey. Turkish President Erdogan denounces excessive attacks on Gaza, labeling them as genocidal. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, following Xi Jinping's lead, urgently called on Israel to cease its attacks on Gaza, characterizing them as genocidal. He also urged governments worldwide to work toward a humanitarian ceasefire in the region. Historically in support of Palestinians, Turkey advocates for a two-state solution to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and has acted as a mediator since the beginning. Despite initially condemning the loss of civilian lives and calling for restraint to normalize relations with Israel, Ankara's stance has hardened as hostilities and the humanitarian crisis in Gaza intensified. Erdogan criticized Israel for attempting to involve non-regional actors, emphasizing the urgency of saving the region from a frenzy of madness perpetrated with the support of Western powers and the media, echoing concerns raised by Russia and China. Indeed, Turkey aims to highlight the involvement of Western powers, particularly the United States, which has yet to make significant gestures toward de-escalation. Erdogan asserted that Turkey is actively working to prevent the conflict from reaching a point of no return, emphasizing that security cannot result from cruelty to innocents, including bombings of crucial infrastructure such as hospitals, schools, mosques, and churches. To achieve the goal of bringing peace, Turkey has decided to launch a campaign boycotting anything supporting Israel. Concrete resolutions are being pursued, including one of the latest Turkish parliamentary actions that we will discuss next. Turkish parliament excludes Coca-Cola and Nestlé from menus due to their alleged support for Israel, as reported by Reuters on November 7. The Turkish parliament has decided to remove Coca-Cola and Nestlé products from its restaurants, alleging that these companies supposedly support Israel in the context of the conflict in Gaza. The decision was officially announced, and a source confirmed that the names of both companies were mentioned. Neither Coca-Cola or Nestle has yet responded to requests for comments. According to the statement from the Grand National Assembly of Turkey, products from companies supporting Israel will no longer be sold in the parliamentary campus's restaurants, cafeterias, and tea lounges. The order to boycott these products was issued by the parliament president, Numan Kurtulmus. He emphasized that this decision aimed to support public concerns regarding boycotting products from companies openly declaring their support for Israeli war crimes, particularly the tragic events in the Gaza Strip. Products from companies supporting what he termed the Israeli genocide in Gaza will no longer be available in the parliament's canteens, cafes, and tea lounges, following the president's directives. According to the T24 news portal, beverages from Coca-Cola and Nestlé will no longer be sold in the parliament's cafe. Since the decision, employees and visitors can no longer order products from these companies. Remaining stocks in the warehouses are either to be returned to suppliers or transferred to other warehouses for storage. According to a parliamentary source, Coca-Cola and Nestlé instant coffee are, until now, the only brands removed from menus due to alleged support for Israel in the Gaza conflict. The decision aims to respond to the outrage expressed by the Turkish public against these companies. Simultaneously, the manner in which Coca-Cola and Nestle support Israel has not been specified. In October, Nestle announced the temporary closure of one of its factories in Israel as a precaution. It should be noted that it all started with the actions of Turkish activists who called for the boycott of Israeli products and Western companies perceived as supporting Israel, citing Coca-Cola and Nestlé. The Turkish parliament's initiative will indeed be one of the first actions by a government or a major organization targeting global brands in connection with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. In Barcelona, the Longshoremen's Union refused to load and unload military equipment bound for Israel. In Belgium as well, transport unions refused to handle military equipment destined for Israel. On each occasion, President Erdogan does not hesitate to strongly criticize the Israeli assault on Gaza and Western support for Israel. The president remains attentive to his people, hundreds of thousands of Turks, who have demonstrated significantly in recent days against Israeli operations in Gaza over the past month. The entire country of Turkey seems to stand against Israel's actions, which it deems unjust. Many consider the events of recent weeks overall as a violation of international law and a crime against humanity. Throughout the country, many Turks hang Palestinian flags on their balconies, cars, any available support to express their complete solidarity with the Palestinian people. Some outlets in the Republic have even decided not to sell Israeli products anymore. It is also noteworthy that Turkey is not solely addressing Israel but is critical of countries supporting Israel, as evidenced by the cold reception given to U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken during his visit to Ankara on November 5 and 6. Upon his arrival, no senior Turkish official welcomed him at the airport. He was received only by the deputy governor of Ankara province and Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, who avoided a handshake in front of the cameras, creating a tense atmosphere. Moreover, for potentially diplomatic, political, or economic reasons, Turkey, known as the Energy Corridor, has not yet yielded to calls to halt oil supplies. The tone of Turkey towards Israel is becoming more assertive, but oil supplies have not been interrupted. The Turkish president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, is intensifying his criticism of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, pledging actions like the boycott of Coca-Cola and Nestle. However, when it comes to oil deliveries to Israel, a crucial aspect, Turkey is not taking any risks. Supertankers are still transporting oil to Israel from the Turkish port of Ceyhan, as Turkey remains a major supplier through pipelines from Azerbaijan and Iraqi Kurdistan. Despite escalating violence, voices calling for a halt to this supply are growing. During a meeting with the Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan in Ankara, Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian called for a stop to oil deliveries to Israel, a request ignored by Fidan. While Erdogan's rhetoric against Israel intensifies, Turkish oil deliveries to Israel continue. According to Mehmet Ogutku, an analyst at the London Energy Club, a potential Turkish embargo would likely not harm Israel due to the abundance of oil on global markets. Israel could source oil from other places like Brazil, Canada, or Africa. The true reasons behind Turkey's approach are unknown, raising questions about whether it's a fear of losing a business partner to competition amid animosity and strained relations. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict continues to impact policies, prompting many to reassess their priorities. And with that, we conclude this video on current affairs. I hope it provided you with new insights. Feel free to comment and like. Most importantly, subscribe because Cultination still has a lot to give you on this subject. Keep connected.